It's Rice again! Oh! My goodness!
Now, I know I said this in our last pod, but I bet you're all still thinking about Declan Rice, aren't you? Hello, my name is Tabs, and welcome to episode 91 of the Grove Podcast. Now, I hope you're all doing well, and to be honest, thinking about those free kicks is far, far better use of your time than thinking about yesterday's game against Brentford. And if you need something else to distract you, then we can always laugh a lot at Tottenham, which is always fun and always lightens our mood, irrespective of what happens with Arsenal. So there we go. So look, joining me today to chat Brentford and Real Madrid are Jamie. Jeez, my mouth! I can't say words today. Jamie, how are you? And by the way, listeners, this is the second attempt. How many times and in how many languages have you watched those free kicks?
I've watched those free kicks a lot. I've watched more of those free kicks than the Brentford game. So, and I feel like I got a good end of the deal there as well.
No, absolutely. I believe my iPhone's got screen burn from the free kicks, and I think there's a corner post and a ball that seems to be forever permanent on my iPhone. So there we go. And also joining us today is Kuziva. How you doing? And have the night sweats about the Bernabéu kicked in yet?
Zero night sweats. What helped, obviously, is the Brentford game. It grounded us, so I'm in a good place.
Good. Okay, well, I look forward to hearing your thoughts. So that sounds a very confident man we have here. Look, in today's show, we're going to look back, but not in too much depth, at the 1-1 draw in Brentford. I think most of it is going to be on vibes, because I think I was the only one that was there at the three of us. Jamie was elsewhere, and Kuziva was out and about, sort of catching it in the background. But there's a bit to talk about and some surrounding topics. And then look, I will panic and stress over how Real Madrid, UEFA, and anyone else is planning to screw us over in the Bernabéu on Wednesday, because it's happening. Anyway, so Brentford, let's look at that. Any highlights and lowlights from the performance, or from what you saw, what you garnered, what you heard? Any from the outcome? Jamie, I'll start with you.
I think it's kind of nice that there was quite such heavy rotation, and it would have been a highlight had Kieran Tierney scored. And the low light was Kieran Tierney, his goal being disallowed, because I thought that would have been a lovely, moment as we near the end of his time with the Arsenal, because it was a cracking cross from Wanyeri and a really nice header from KC, but alas, he was a good entire body width offside. In fairness, that was watching that back where they did the semi-automated response thing. There was really no need for a semi-automated on that. That's pretty clear cut.
Yeah, how the linesman didn't see that one, geez, that's nuts. But yes, I agree with that. It's a shame for him. But yeah, I think you could see by the way he celebrated that he wasn't 100% convinced. But then again, he's not the most gregarious of players, so you can't tell. That might have been him like going mental. Who knows? So there we go. And Kuziva, anything from you?
Highlights would be Saliba and Kuziva playing together again. I know people are like a bit surprised by Saliba not resting, but it's important that we keep those guys playing together. And then low light, just how it was expected in a way. Obviously, we always want to win and we always expect to win, but when we eventually drew, it was just one of those, here we go. So yeah, that's the low light.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Actually, on those two, they're unbeaten. So when those two play together, they're yet to be beaten. Okay, we're talking a low number of games, but still, there's something there, something to be proven in that partnership. And I think the more they play together, the better they're getting. Kivio is looking more confident, and in the team, there's been this thing with Saliba in the past that when Gabriel's not been there, he hasn't sort of stepped up, but he definitely stepped up yesterday, and he was my man of the match. He was very prominent, and in terms of my highlight, I think his performance, Partey and Rice, the big boys' performance yesterday, it really stood out. and the difference between them and everyone else on both sides was stark. So those are my highlights. And my low light was pre-match. When I went at the pub with fellow members of the Grove, I left my mobile phone on the table whilst going to the gents, which is a schoolboy error, and it got used to send some erroneous messages to the group WhatsApp chat. So thanks, Tanvir, appreciate it. Lucky, I don't waste my time, so they're only able to send 1 or 2 messages. But there we go. So that was my low light from the game. So look, in terms of the oh my jeez, I really need to put my teeth back in today. In terms of the lineup, as you alluded to, Jamie, there was a lot of rotation. The biggest thing for me was no White. Well, there was 2 big things. Was no White in the squad at all, which was a bit concerning, and there's some noise out there saying it's fine, but Arteta said, we don't know how serious it is. It could not be he couldn't be in the condition to be in the squad today and to be selected. We have a few days, but we'll have to wait and see, which is a bit worrying because I think we're going to need him on Wednesday. And Sterling not even getting in the lineup, and if you can't get into that lineup on that game on that day, that's got to be the lowest point of his season so far. So, Jamie, any thoughts on that lineup? Any concerns? Any worries that you wish certain players didn't play so much and so on?
Not really. No. I think it was seemed sensible. Few changes there. Rice didn't have to play the full 90. Partey came on for Jorginho, I think, didn't he? And kind of it looked like. I think probably the only surprise was Sterling, but when I look at the actual lineup, who am I actually going to put him in place of? Right? Do you want to drop Trossard? No, I probably want him to be a bit sharp because he's more than likely the guy that we might have to turn to at some point during the Madrid game. I think Ranieri, I definitely want to see out there on that pitch, and then to have somebody like Martinelli, who's in really good form alongside them, seems like a better decision to me than having Raheem Sterling, which would have felt like it was really chucking in the towel.
Yeah,
Kuziva?
I agree. Yeah, I mean, I share the exact same sentiments. Who else are we going to drop? So yeah, I feel like when we do play Madrid on Wednesday, those are the players on the attacking side that, obviously Martinelli will start, but it'll be Leo first, and probably Nwaneri, and then after that, maybe Raheem. So yeah, the lineup made a lot of sense. The worry, as you mentioned, was Ben White. But I mean, he was carrying an injury for a season, 2 seasons. Then he had a really big surgery, and I feel like this is just normal for someone coming back after a while. So that makes a bit of sense.
Setbacks and knocks, and you don't want to play him unless you feel he's 100% there physically, right? So, I, if anything, that just feels like I'd rather them have caution in the short term than regret it in the long term. And as much as you'd like to see him Wednesday, Tabs, I'll be honest, I'm sort of the opposite opinion. Like, I'm desperate to see him back in the starting lineup for a prolonged period of time. I'm not desperate to see him go out in the Bernabéu.
No, but I want him available. So I don't know. Timber starts in the Bernabéu, but having him there, and you don't want Partey to be your backup right back. I mean, as well as
I think I would. I think I absolutely would. I almost don't want him anywhere near it against Real because I think a guy who hasn't played any football in that amount of time, or who's played such a tiny fraction of it, can't be touching that game in the slightest, as far as I'm concerned. But that's just I'd have liked to have seen him more against Brentford.
Yeah.
Put him in some dead rubbers, which is effectively most of the league is now. It's a 6-point lead over Forest, right? We're comfortable. We're going to kind of stutter home in the league. As long as we're in the Champions League, we'll be rotating players, and that's what it is. And Ben White gets a bit of football in that, brilliant, because I don't really give too much for stuff. There's even a part of me that doesn't really care between second and third, right? I know there's been chat otherwise to that effect. It doesn't really matter. It's got no real bearing on things,
Yeah.
So I'd rather see Benny White keep getting Premier League minutes and go nowhere near the Champions League until he's had at least 180 Premier League minutes under his belt, which I don't think he's going to get.
Yeah. Again, I think the annoying thing yesterday was that Partey had to play I think he played the full 90 at right back. Now, we were playing in second and third gear. and he looked amazing. He looked fresh.
Just
I
a
mean,
robot, man. He doesn't get. Of course, it was Marino came on actually, wasn't it? Not Partey.
yeah,
The robot this season,
yeah.
mate. Just the most fit and available man that we've ever seen
And
at Arsenal Football Club.
the irony of that, if I was to say to you, Kuziva, like, at the beginning of the season, we're going to be suffering from big injuries, missing major players, and all the rest of it. By the way, Partey's going to stay fit throughout the whole and with 5 games to go in the league, he's going to be sprinting up the touchline to score a goal. You'd be like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I would have been saying, bro, are you doing drugs? Because I want some. Unexpected. But I feel like I'm aligned with Jamie on that point. Possibly have Partey play right back if we do need to drop him at right back. But yeah, those are my 2 cents. And just on the point that Jamie made around second and third doesn't really make a difference. It really doesn't. Like, in terms of payments from the Premier League, we'll lose 4 million if we came third, and then the difference between first and second is 400,000, I think. So, I mean, well done, Liverpool, for winning the trophy. But yeah, second and third, yeah, it's neither here or there.
I'd rate rather second, don't get me wrong. I appreciate being a position higher in the league. It's just ultimately, if it makes any fraction of a difference in our chances of having our greatest Champions League season of all year, then you take that, right? That's the thing. It's just prioritisation for me.
Yeah.
And where the season's still at,
Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay, look, I had this after this session, but look, we're talking about it now, and we might as well go to it but at some point, these games do have to matter. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we can't just stumble our way and
why not? The rest of the league is as well, mate. We keep
drawing. Well, yeah. I mean, exactly. I think it
works. Getting shit results. It's fucking brilliant, mate.
It is nuts, but so look, we're second on 63. So Forest third on 57, Man City fourth on 55, Chelsea fifth on 54, Newcastle currently winning 1-0 against Man United, so they'll be sixth with 1 game in hand on 54, and Villa on 7th to 54. I know, so there's 18, 21 points to play for. I do want to finish second just because if any other team goes ahead of us, then it's just more narrative and more shit to deal with. Now, not at the expense of the Champions League. So don't get me go.
It's about narrative, though. Like, what's the point in that? You know what I mean? Like,
but also, I think it wasn't you that said to me. It said to me in the pod many years ago. Like, historically, coming second for Arsenal in our history is a massive result, and it'll be in the top 10 of all our results and stuff like that. So and. I want to finish above as many people as possible. Why shouldn't we finish above City? Finishing above City, finishing above Chelsea.
The context is the Champions League this season, I think.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
And it's the Champions League with a squad where we've got players that have been missing. We still haven't got a striker, and we're still hoping for people to return, right? And that, I think, is that, again, massive difference too if we haven't had that kind of adversity around availability. I think I would be saying every player plays both. We've got to be really quite limited in our rotation, and you want to be machine-like, and you just got to get all the pistons firing in the Premier League and carry that momentum into the Champions League and get over the line in the way that proper champions do. Problem is that isn't really the case, right? The Pistons haven't been pumping for a lot of the season for a whole bunch of reasons, but we've continuously been able to turn it up in the Champions League and get good results on a consistent basis in all of our big games, actually, Champions League and Premier League, really. In the vast majority of the big games, we're getting those results. And that this season has relied on a lot more fill-ins, covers, squad management than Arteta's ever had to do before. And so it's just a question of, I do care about the league. I always will. But it's just, if you asked me right now, I'll give you a 1% better chance of winning the Champions League. That's all I'd even ask for. And in exchange for that, you drop enough points that you finish third, then I'd just go, fuck it, give me every chance I've got.
I would not sacrifice the Champions League over second or third. No, that's not where I'm getting at. But it was mainly so you're pretty secure. We will get top 5. I mean, there shouldn't be any reason we should fall out of the top 5, because imagine we did fall out of the top 5.
Everyone else is, mate.
I know that, but that's luckily
everybody that's stuttering. Not only that, but it's who they're playing and dropping results against. It's not that those Chelsea, Forest, and City and we are still undefeated for bloody ages. We haven't lost in the league in a long time. Yeah, we've just had a bunch of crap draws, but we've turned up 9 points out of 5 games, right? Forest have got 10 points out of there in the same period. City have done all right and got themselves 13 during that period, but and they're finally starting to turn up, but they're a long way back. And Chelsea are just coming off the back of what was before that a miserable spell where they got barely any points for about 2 months.
And
right?
they drew 2-2, having been 2-0 down against Ipswich today. So
exactly.
no,
And
I think
a lot of bad results against bad teams that they're getting. And City only got that 5-2 after being down because they are playing genuinely one of the worst football teams to have played in the Premier League, right? So that's that's what we're talking about. I don't have a massive fear. Looking at the rest of our fixture list, I think 2 wins and we're done. You know what I mean?
And the thing is also those teams play each other a lot. Yeah, Newcastle and Chelsea play each other. I'm not so worried about Chelsea. Newcastle are the ones that could be sneaky get into third, possibly second, because also they win their 2 games in hand and they play us at home, and it's not beyond the stretch of the imagination that they beat us at our place, given the state of them, the state of us, that they'll be 1 point behind us. And but yeah, look, I think top 5. You're right. We get a couple of wins. We play Southampton. We play Ipswich next week. We've got Bournemouth at home, Palace at home. 6 points, top 5 should be secured, and wherever we fit in within that top 5, then fair enough, and not at the expense of the Champions League. It's just sort of like a nagging thing in the background that you just. Yeah. I think it matters to a point, and we don't want to sort of have that sour the taste, but.
You'd also hope that
there we go.
You'd also hope that if we are doing well in the Champions League, that there is confidence in those remaining games. It would make sense for me that these guys have just beaten Madrid again, and now we're playing PSG in the next round. They're going to be hyped for PSG, and you'd hope that they're hyped and excited for the Premier League. So I'm not too worried, but I do understand your concerns, Tabs, and just on calling out Jamie for what he said like a year ago, 2 years ago. Jamie is a product owner by profession. He is always prioritizing, looking at resources, looking at things right now. So my man is just doing what he does best, right? So I get that.
Yeah, that's it, mate. 100%. That's it.
Don't worry. I'm not calling him out from a year ago and holding those tokens in my bag. It was about 5 weeks ago. So
I will also say 1993. Actually, it does make me think of the 93, 94, 93 to 95 period, the kind of the great turmoil period where we just kept winning cups though, because we won obviously the League Cup and FA Cup 93. We won the Cup Winners' Cup in 94, and then in 95 we go to the final of the Cup Winners' Cup again. And season after that, I go to the semi-finals of the League Cup again. That team, if you kind of listen to any of them talk about that period. Now, admittedly, with them, it was also that there was all the Unga Bunga stuff going on, and there was also rampant alcoholism around the team. But their whole thing was they were basically only able to really focus on the cup games, and they openly admit it. It was just like we knew we weren't going to be able to challenge for the league title like we had in previous seasons, so we just really focused and went, we're going to win these cup games. And it does kind of feel, I think, a little bit like the team's just there at the moment. Nobody wants to get injured, and that's the thing that people say as well. Nobody wants to get injured. Everybody wants to be available. If you're not genuinely going to win the league, I think it's very hard for an elite athlete in that kind of place that they are, especially at the Arsenal at the moment, where it's not striving to get into the Champions League. We've established ourselves there, and we know we're pretty safe in the fact that we're in. I think it's very, very hard to convince them to do those extra couple of % that so often are needed in the Premier League teams. That Brentford team are bloody good.
No, they are.
They are a really good side, and they're arguably better than they were a couple of seasons back, as far as I'm concerned.
I
that
think
in particular is really great.
Okay, well let's talk about yesterday's game. So Kuziva, what was your feeling? Knowing ended up being 1-1. With a changed lineup, we drew 1-1 again, and we were winning sort of 1-0. With 15 minutes to go. What was your overall thoughts of the result and how we played and just the outcome of that game?
I mean, we speaking about it now. It was just yeah, it was expected. It was okay, cool. We've drawn. Let's move forward. We could have won. We had a lot of opportunities throughout the game. There was that one opportunity. I don't know if it's in your show notes where Saka got the ball. He dispossessed the goalkeeper, and I feel like a more confident, fitter Saka is hitting that first time and it's going in. But he had 2 touches and then obviously got dispossessed himself. So frustrations that we are good enough. We are at home. But then again, yeah, like Jamie just said it, psychologically, these guys want to win the Champions League. They know that there's an opportunity, or they want to beat Madrid first, actually. So the amount of effort, mental fortitude, whatever it is that these guys give to play a football game, they were just like, let's manage that. So frustrating. A bit annoyed by Tierney's offsides, even though it was really offsides. And I'm just glad that we weren't caught out at the back in the way that they did that to us was at the beginning of this season. Easy counter, Mbeumo goal from the right.
Yeah.
But expected, but still frustrating.
Yeah.
That chance, man, is just ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, that is just a bit of rustiness from him, surely, isn't it? But he seems to hesitate, takes the extra touch, and you wouldn't see that off of Saka normally, especially. It felt like one of his touches was too light, basically, wasn't it? And he just set it up for himself, so he went for the second one.
Yeah, I mean, there was a defender coming back, and he just thought he was trying to maybe get himself. He thought he could get past the keeper to get a better chance. And you're right. I think first time it was one of those ones, first time or not at all, and it just didn't fall for him, and just a swing on his left foot. And you're right. Maybe that's still getting confidence in his body to do that. What's his body able to do? Because it's been obvious that he's not been going down the right as much as possible, getting to the byline and crossing in. I don't think he fully trusts his right leg at the moment, and maybe just that 1% doubt in his body then just delays something, and that all it takes is a nanosecond of a delay, and the chance is gone. So
that was on his left, so you'd expect.
No, but it's just the general. His general demeanor is he's still not. I don't think he's still 100% certain in his body and exactly what he does. So a lot of what he's doing is great. But if you look at it, it's sort of relatively within his wheelhouse and relatively safe in terms of what he does, as opposed to really sort of having to contort his body to do something. So I know it was on his left, but it's just that nanosecond of doubt. That's all it takes to then lose the opportunity. One, as you said, a fully firing, fully fit, fully confident Saka takes that first time, hits it hard, and it goes in. Because to hit it hard, the way you have to pivot off one leg, and what happens with that, then it just puts just a little bit of strain in the body that he's maybe still has doubts about.
Yeah, no, I mean that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
You did get some crosses in through that. Just there was no one there to attack those, and that was quite frustrating for him. I think there was probably one of the last chances he got when he was literally saying, "Guys, where the fuck are you?"
Welcome to Arsenal. Well, look, I mean, I just said at the beginning, I think we had some decent performances from our big players. I mean, we dominated. I think we were the only team trying to win the game. But it was one of those ones that we're in a state at the moment where 1-0 is not enough. Like last week, we get done by refereeing decisions. This week, we just don't have the firepower or the creativity to get that second goal to win us the game, and we are in that state. And again, Brentford have their one chance and score that one goal from their one chance that they have. And granted, we defended poorly, and it's that maximum punishment. It's teams are not like battering us and eventually they break us down and get a goal. No, it just falls and it happens. That's who we are, and we just don't have the firepower to counter that at the moment. So, in a way, I'm more frustrated at 1-1, having been winning 1-0, than I would have been had it been 0-0. In a way, because you got the lead. Right, that's it. And you think, oh, nice, we've got away with this. We're playing in second and third gear. We've rotated the team. Great, we've got the win, and then it's sort of like, it felt worse in a way. And then also we went down to 10 men, which was not ideal because Jorginho went off. I think Arteta said he couldn't breathe properly, so it might have been a rib injury, which again is not great for him or for our squad for the rest of the season. But we'll see. And I don't think anyone really cared about this game as much because everyone's minds are on Wednesday. But one thing we did do is that we've matched the Invincibles So, we're as good as the Invincibles. We've got 12 draws, and so have they. So did the Invincibles in their season. Unfortunately, we haven't got the wins that they did. So, but that's just the way it is. And but on that point about being 1-0 up, that's 16 points we've dropped from winning positions.
Yeah, and that's not a characteristic that we've had at all over the last couple of seasons. But it is just, I think, again, it's where we've been, right? But I know about for that. I will say that I prefer the 1-1 just because, I mean, in terms of what's in the highlights, that break, I love what Rice did on that break.
Oh my God, yeah.
I mean, I love the desire around it in general, but Rice just carried the ball so well there, right? The way that he kind of pivots, goes right on his bike, and he's so aware all the way. You see him scanning all the time, holds off, and the timing of that pass to Partey is perfect, right? That's just it. It's on a plate. You can't really miss this. Even TP can't put it in a rosette from there. He
didn't have to break. He didn't have to break stride. Didn't have to break stride at all. It just in his. It was
way to pass. Everything about that was just.
From Rare getting the ball,
just top class, right?
So from Rare getting the ball and releasing it, and then Rice just does a move and sells the Brentford player, and they'd committed quite a lot of players forward. I think Thomas Frank said they were focusing a lot on the set pieces. It was a set piece battle between the two clubs. I mean, they came along with a lot of big units, and they even brought on this right back who was like. You just couldn't. It was a bit like their equivalent of Calafiori. You just could not miss him, and he was just like, I don't know if he's good or not, but he was, but he was in your face and just chaos. I don't know. It reminded me of what was the centre forward who was just chaos in the centre. Yaya Sanogo. He just reminded me of Yaya Sanogo right back, just just chaotic.
I was thinking Yankola Yaya, so I did not expect that at all.
That is a hell of a. Yeah, all right. I'm not sure about that. But
only because we talked about it. Was it the third goal against Hull, where he just comes on and I don't know what his instructions were, but he just ran around a lot and got in the way. And and if you can manage what you can expect. There you go. But when you don't know what to expect. But no, that was a great goal, and it was amazing to see. It was so nice to see us actually finish it off. So have a breakaway, have a counter, and finish it. So Kuziva, would you? So based on we talked about Partey. So based on his fitness this year and the way he's performing, do you give him a contract extension, a 1+1, a 2? Would you keep him, or would you say, look, brilliant season, but we need to move on?
I would let him go. Thanks for all you've done. There's a big cloud that's hanging over his head, or apparently hanging over his head. So that's how I feel about that situation, and I will not comment further.
No, fair enough. Yeah. no, that's fine. It's just a bit. And Jamie,
precisely the same. I'm sorry, but I've been sort of waiting for him to leave for a couple of years. It would have been Andy who got rid of him at some point. You've got to acknowledge that he's played some good football during that time, but I'm sort of tired of having somebody that I feel whenever anything good happens around him that I struggle to enjoy it in any way, shape or form in the way that I do for everyone else. So that's my problem. So yeah, he does need to and I think also from a footballing perspective as well, this is an outlier of a season in terms of his availability. This is not the trend. And on top of that, it's also, again, it's a bit of an outlier in terms of how consistent his performances have been as well, if I'm completely frank. So I'm not convinced he necessarily has lots more of these to go. And if it was a different player, if it was Jorginho otherwise, if he was Saka otherwise, whatever, then maybe you give him that year's deal. But because, as you say, nothing that I'll acknowledge too much on this. But,
no. Look. We know what you're implying.
About him, it's just not a good idea.
Yeah, no, that's fine. And also, if we do get Zubimendi, would he want to stay to be a not a non-starter? That's not what I mean. But be a backup or inverted commas. I mean, we'll have plenty of games and he would play, but he wouldn't be the first choice because otherwise, what's the point of buying Zubimendi? So whether he would want to stay and do that. And stuff. No, just interested because we were discussing it yesterday in the pub. Would you keep him? Would you not? And yeah, there was a lot of chat around it. And I think even from a footballing perspective, like you're saying, Jamie, contracts should be all about what you can offer us in the future, not what you've done for us in the past.
Yeah.
And I think he's done great. Thank you very much. Time to move on, and that's where I am with that as well. Just before we get to the Wissa goal, there was one moment in the 28th minute. I don't know if you've both seen it, and the scissor challenge from behind by Norgard on Martinelli. Red card, or why wasn't it a red card, Kuziva?
I watched it a few times before we started, and like I get the yellow, and maybe we've seen red cards for those, but I also get the yellow, and maybe I need to watch it again. But I'm not gonna lose sleep over that specific challenge compared to other challenges we've seen on our players. But it's just. Yeah, I try not to exert too much energy on some of these ref decisions. If you had to compare it to Mbappe's foul, 30 minutes ago, that's clear, absolute clear cut red card.
Dear God, that was terrible, wasn't it?
No, that's
like he was going for a second swipe as well, right? All of that was just vicious.
I wish that league red cards would carry through to Champions League.
Yeah, I did Google it earlier just to make sure. Expectation, but
how do you guys feel about the challenge? In another team it could have been a red card, but it's not.
Jamie,
what
did you think?
I think I could. Yeah, it goes both ways. One, to be completely frank, I think if that happens in a nighttime match between Liverpool and Arsenal, somebody goes for that because it will be part of an ill-tempered environment and whatever. Probably a question to you, Tabs, about the broader context, because I actually did see this one in real time. It was during one of my little journeys to go and order pints for people that I was literally buying everybody I could pints. So I was at a pub sat having a meal around the corner from the TV. And so I just keep going to the bar.
It was an expensive day.
Yeah, it was, to be honest. I basically paid for everyone's. But it was... I saw it in real time, and I thought to myself at the time, yellow. And then having watched it back, I definitely get now, oh, no, that could be a red.
Yeah.
I think might have been saved somewhat by the fact they are going at such speed, and it was a desperate challenge as opposed to what seemed like an ill-tempered challenge or violent challenge. But it was entirely reckless and definitely dangerous. But what was the context around it? Was there anything else?
Nothing. It was just a breakaway, and it was just chasing back, and
that helps players again, doesn't it? That's the thing. So I think if you've got an environment like a bit of a cauldron, it goes 100%.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, I think a lot of people are based on outcome. People are judging it based on the outcome. If he breaks his leg, like even Martinelli said, if my foot was planted, that could be serious injury. So because he wasn't seriously injured, people are, I think, maybe going light on it. Light on it. Whereas if it's a leg breaker or does some serious damage, then people are calling out differently. So I think there may be a bit outcome based on that. I just thought scissor challenges from behind were just red cards. It doesn't matter what. So, and he was in the air. I don't think he was in control. Maybe he didn't fully commit to the scissor action, but it just looked, in the stadium, I didn't notice because it was a bit to the left. I didn't really notice it, but having looked back, I'm thinking not even to be sent to VAR to review it, just to double check. But it is what it is, and as you say, we're not going to lose too much.
Can they not? They can't upgrade a yellow, right?
No, you can. You can say no. You need to look at this. But what you can't. You just look at the tackle to be a dangerous tackle. So you don't look at it from a yellow perspective. You're just saying this tackle should be a straight red. Yeah, and we need to look at it from a dangerous play perspective, as opposed to the giving of a yellow. What you can't do is judge a yellow card and say, "Oh no, you have to take that away." But you can look at a challenge and say, "Yes, that is because it's a dangerous play. It's dangerous foul and stuff." It
is interesting. I think from a technical perspective, I think you're right. It is a red, like 100%. On a what are you not allowed to do on a football pitch? A red, and is it reckless? Is it endangering the player? All of those things. It is a red. I just think I sort of get it because we do see that context on a regular basis being applied, where the outcome leads it a little bit, and that context of the rest of the game leads it a little bit. So I'm not like massively aggrieved, but I totally get it.
But
It's probably
but this is the thing then, a bit like we just want that consistency so we know what we're watching and
quite like subjective refereeing, though.
No.
I've got to be honest, mate. I mean, it depends, doesn't it? I think objectivity is all fine and everything until you enter a football pitch. A football pitch isn't an objective place. It's a field of subjectivity, and certainly the adjudication of it is, for me, very subjective. So, I mean, and I look at a sport that's really well adjudicated in comparison to the likes of rugby, for instance, and generally the more context that is applied and the more nuance that is applied, the better a game is refereed. So it depends. I'm not a big fan of that. It needs to be consistent. It needs to be the same all the time. Let's turn people into automatons because people aren't automatons. But that's that's a personal thing from my. And I know we differ very wildly on our sort of. I respect your viewpoints on refs very much. We vary quite.
You're more forgiving. You're more forgiving than I am. There you go. You're more forgiving than I am.
Yeah,
I
sort of regard them all as being, they all started at grassroots somewhere. Do you know what I mean? It's the same football.
Yeah, no, and that's fine. I get that, and look, we're not going to litigate that today because we've done it in the past. And frankly, I think like the last time, just bored of it. After the Everton game and stuff like that. So anyway, let's move on and just quickly on any thoughts on the Wissa goal, the equaliser, Kuziva. Has he frozen on your picture as well? Oh, he's gone. Okay.
Yeah. He also froze on what looked like he was having a migraine as well. He froze with his kind of hand to his face and forehead.
Were you at the bar when Wissa equalised?
I wasn't, but I've watched it back. I have watched the extended highlights now. Come on, perhaps. I did somewhat prepare. Yeah, a bit meh, isn't it? Really, felt like it's one of those very typical bounces around a bit. Somebody gets to it. Did look like there was the overlap was the big crime, wasn't it? Where we just had I can't think who it was out on Mbuemo, but when Mbuemo plays in the overlapping right wing back, just sort of nobody's anywhere near him, and that could have been even more deadly.
Well, yeah, two players jumped out at the same time and got sold a massive dummy when it wasn't even that. If one held their position and if the person didn't jump out, he would have had someone to deal with. Instead, he had all this space to cross it in. But even then, the ball's in the box. I think we had a chance to clear it. It's just it ping balls around a little bit and. Yeah, look, Wissa's had a great season. I think he scored 16 goals. So for 16 goals this season, he's been a superstar for them this season. And it's just irritating. It's just annoying. Again, 1-0 should have been enough to win that game. We get varianced again, as we have done all season, and it is what it is. We just have to move on.
Yeah, it sort of feels like, I don't know, by that time we actually had quite a lot of the starters out on the pitch, but a lot of them had come on as a subs and whatever. And it did sort of feel like that goal that we don't concede when we're fully organised and fully focused, right?
Yeah.
And I think in general, that's how that game sort of, in watching the replay at least anyway, it just feels like that sums the game up, really. It's one of those games where Brentford didn't, we were better than Brentford, we had better opportunities, we were in control of the game, but doing so whilst never having that extra gear to go into and not being as focused as we might otherwise be. And that's where I just think I can understand why we're there, and I think we all can, right? But yeah, so a bit of a frustrating one to watch back, that goal. We just don't really like that. So
yeah, Kuziva's back.
Sorry about that. Looks like our internet on the whole block just dropped. Hopefully it should be fine.
You just went to put another 10p in the meter to keep it going.
We use hyper optic.
No, all good. No, we're just talking about the Wissa goal. It's just a bit frustrating, not our usual selves. What was odd is that when we went 1-0 up, Odegaard came on, Saka came on. We bring on better players, and then we looked worse. It's just like one of those things. It changes the dynamic, and I think like we were talking about before that they don't want to get injured and stuff like that. So it was just an odd game, but. Yeah, 1-0 should have been enough. We Brentford had 0.24 xG. They had 3 shots, 2 on target. To our 14 and stuff like that. So it's just one of those games that, as we are at the moment, we need to we need 2 goals to win games in the majority, and we didn't. But we very quickly move on, very forgettable, and it's all about Real Madrid on Wednesday. So, Jamie, and by the way, all I'm seeing here is a dot. Kuziva, are you still there? Oh, yeah, still there. You're here. Go on, I'll come to you before your internet goes. What are you looking forward to and not looking forward to with regards to Real Madrid away, second leg, Champions League with a 3-0 deficit to make up?
I'll start with what I'm not looking forward to. It's the first 15 minutes of the Bernabéu. Obviously, their fans have been brainwashed by the propaganda of comeback, magic. So they're going to be hyped. And hopefully I just hope we compose during that time, especially Kibio. I was just chatting the other day with some friends. I think that he's been chatting to Lewandowski, trying to figure out how best to manage that environment and manage these boys in Spain. So that's my low light, just the atmosphere. Highlights. I'm looking forward to Real Madrid attacking. I think that's an exciting prospect for Arsenal. So yeah, let's see how it goes. Let's see if my excitement is misguided and blind.
Let's go, Jamie.
I mean, I'm looking forward to yet another massively meaningful Champions League game in our first one at the Bernabéu for a very, very long time, right? I mean, it's a huge deal. But yeah, not looking forward to yet. It's the fact that there are just these images in my mind of Vinicius and Mbappe have one of those games, and they're unplayable for even for a spell of 20 minutes, and they knock in 3 goals. That's not beyond the realm of doubt that's something that could happen, because both of them are absolutely incredible talents, So that is always going to be a concern. You're going up against 2 of the best attackers in the world.
Yeah.
But the things that I am looking forward to, as Kuziva says, potentially it could be really fun to see us get a couple of breakaways. I don't think that there won't be opportunities for us in that game, from the pure and simple fact that Real Madrid are not a team that are capable of not giving teams opportunities. They give opportunities to much poorer sides than Arsenal throughout this campaign. They are not really much of a team, is kind of it, really. They're very, very disjointed. I don't think I've ever seen an Ancelotti team look this disjointed, and it feels like his magic's running out a little bit. So, that I think that's going to be a big thing. If we can get 1 goal there, that's it.
It's game over.
It's game over. They're not. There's no way. When in God's name would this Arsenal team, missing only 1 centre half and having our first choice filling in place, not be a side that would go on to concede 4 even against world class attackers?
Well,
so I would be all right.
The last time we let in 3 goals was Luton away. We were on 4-3.
Good God, yeah.
Yeah, that was the last time we let in 3, and we still won the game. And the last time we let in 4 goals, so that was 2023. The last time we let in 4 goals was Liverpool away in 2021. So this team does not let in goals. We are a hard team to beat, and we're even harder against the big teams. Our record against the biggest of big teams in the Premiership, now in the Champions League, is we don't. And the only one that we did lose was Inter, because of some stupid UEFA handball rule, and stuff like that. So at the San Siro, otherwise we would have drawn that game. And so on. So, to let in 3, but you're right. There's that. It's the Bernabéu. It's Mbappe. It's Bellingham. And geez, doesn't Bellingham look like a unit? That was one thing. He's bulked up. I think he's been on the Spanish. He's been on the Pep supplements, I think. But
ridiculous, actually.
He's solid. But you got Bellingham and you got Vinny Jr. and Mbappe. You're right. They're always there. But you're right. They're going to offer up chances. So look, I'm looking forward to a comfortable 2-0 loss. I will take that every day of the week. Losing 2-0, thank you very much, and get through. And I don't care how. For me, what I'm not looking forward to is we need to make sure we have a strong ref. because you've got a weak ref in that environment. They're going to be pulling out all the tricks, going to be wanting to get us booked, to get us riled, to do everything. They'll do whatever they can to get an advantage. And so I just hope there isn't we have a strong ref in charge that doesn't fall for us, fall for that antic. So, and let's hope we don't shit the bed. Let's hope we don't let in a goal early. And yeah, and I can't. I just don't want anyone to even imagine if we've let a 3-goal lead slip and we get knocked out. So
I think we just need to do the DNA of this team and literally allow that DNA to go up against theirs. Their DNA is they're a moments team.
Yeah.
That's what Real Madrid are. And I mean, Real Madrid in general are a bit of a moment side for many, for decades almost. But this is a very extreme example where between those moments, they exert very little control and very little composure. Whereas we are the complete and utter opposite. We actually, this season in particular, more so than we have in other years where we've had the bit of vibes going on, we do actually struggle for some of those big moments. Certainly not last week, but it does happen. But on the other hand, we exert fantastic control and composure. So we just need to be composed. We do. I disagree that we want to sit back or anything like that. We want to try and have the ball and strangle the game as much as possible, but just be very sensible with the way that we do it. And I think we have the ability to do that as a club. And I think we did that in the first game as well. We didn't achieve that 3-0 by going hell to leather and throwing everything at them. And we weren't massively concerned with them on the break. They had a couple of opportunities, but it was always feeling like they were running wide on goal every time. Somebody was always on their weaker foot, and it needs to be the same again. And I honestly think if we can get through 30 minutes, I totally get that their fans are going to be right behind them for a while. They ain't going to be right behind them all game. They will give it about half hour, and if during that half hour they haven't been absolutely knocking on the door for the entire time, or if we can get an early one, oh God no, that's not going to be a good environment for them either. So, because you look at Marca very much has talked about the humiliation of Madrid. The kind of the Castillan leaning papers have very much been talking of how much they've been humbled and how terrible a state that they're in. And obviously the non-Castillan papers then have been, Mundo Della Sport and whatever have all been absolutely, filling their boots with just how bad.
Absolutely, absolutely.
The papers are very much, saying that was an absolute low point for us.
And rightly so. And rightly so. So, Kuziva, do you agree with the pragmatic approach? So we don't park the bus, we just play our normal game, but we don't go hell for leather.
I mean, is it pragmatic if that's just our DNA, right? That's just who we are. And the reason why I said I'm excited for them to attack is because it's going to open up spaces in the half spaces. It's going to give us opportunities on the counter. And we'll just honestly play our game. As I said earlier, my worry is the atmosphere, because we're going to see a lot of Raya getting the ball and being that third centre back. Just don't fuck that up. If you can pass through them as we normally do, with their intent of attacking and trying to flip this game with their magic moments, there are opportunities for us to play our game and do really well. So I feel like we'll do what we do. We'll be a bit more reserved in the sense that we have scored 3 goals. But that pragmatic way of playing in this example is just the Arsenal DNA. It's patient football and just waiting for those opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, what you said there about playing through them, I mean, I have to say that was so easy last week. You could see Vinny Jr. and Mbappe, they try for a bit and go, nah. And all we have to do is be really patient, and then eventually they can't be bothered, and we'll get through. We can get through them. We can get through at least the first press in inverted commas, because if you call it a press, it does a pressing disservice. So if hopefully they've got that attitude, and look, we know why they do it, because they're conserving themselves for doing what they do. So there's one big concern for me, or a consideration, or is it a consideration? I don't know, that Rice, Timber, Partey and Martinelli are all 1 yellow away from missing a potential semi-final with potentially PSG. How how do you, does that come into anyone's thinking, or you just like, no, you just win the game and we'll worry about it there afterwards? But the thought of having to, face up PSG without Rice and Timber would be difficult to say the least. Jamie?
I thought it
Oh, sorry.
reset.
Go Kuziva, sorry.
I thought it was going to reset now. So
No.
this is news to me. Maybe actually I saw it and I was just ignoring it. This is news.
It resets. So if you're on 2, then it resets to 0.
Right.
But it resets, but the suspension carries over.
Okay.
So the 3 card suspension carries over, and if you're on 2, then it resets. So it means you can't miss the second leg, or you shouldn't miss the final based on 3 yellow cards or something like that. So
I mean, we don't want to play against PSG if we make it through on Wednesday. Those guys are really exciting. They are more structured than Madrid. So we need Declan Rice. We need Timber, especially if we have someone, I forgot, Desiree Doué. You saw the goal he scored against Aston Villa. He is so exciting. When they signed him, they didn't expect this teenager would be cooking the way he's cooking. And I can't think of anyone else in our team who can manage a player like that right now in his current form than Timber. In the midfield, they're locked. Like we can't afford to miss it. So just on your question, it's tough. It's because everyone wants to just play, and you could also get a yellow card for the stupidest thing. I think what we should do is just don't do anything stupid. Play your game, but don't kick the ball away. Don't try waste time, knowing very well that you could lose opportunity in the next game. But going back to your point earlier, Tabs, I hope the ref is not Florentino Perez in disguise. Otherwise, you'll get it. One of our players will get a yellow card for nothing. So it's a worry. But I expect them to play the game and just don't be idiots. Just don't be dumb.
Yeah. Jamie?
Yeah, I don't know. I will say actually one thing: I'm not quite so worried about Desiree Doué for some reason. I think he's an incredible young talent, but I also think he's kind of just really turned it on in about the last 5 or 10 games, right? And if I look at most of our sides in handling him, I don't have any worries. So moving on to the next, if we get there, just as part of that, I trust us to handle him. I think we'll be all right. But yeah, I do agree. PSG are a totally different team to Madrid, and perhaps I think at the moment look like the much better prospects. For this game, I'm going to go with a draw, and I'm going to say that we get through with control and composure, and never having made them look like they were going to win the game whatsoever. And then we look forward to a match with PSG because they're clearly going to go through against Villa.
And do you think we should do anything with regards to those players on yellow cards, or you just play them and just, I said, hope that we don't get silly, just make sure don't do anything dumb? Because I'm even thinking, even if it's like 1-0 at 70 minutes or 75 minutes or 80 minutes, I still don't think the game's over. I still think
control and composure. Like it's down to each individual to keep themselves safe. If somebody takes a booking and there's a reason for it, and that it's a deserved booking, it's a deserved booking. It happens. Like it's you can't tell somebody to go out and not get booked. We have seen 1,000,001 times this situation, especially in the Champions League, some very high-profile ones. And you can't tell a player to play within themselves in a game like this game. You just have to tell them to do what we do as the Arsenal, and that generally doesn't put us at that kind of risk. And as much as we unfortunately have lost quite a few players to suspension and red cards and stuff this season, but ultimately they just need to stay on top of that. I don't see any other way around it. I don't think you can tell. I think the only thing you can do is potentially not select somebody, and I wouldn't be changing the selection based on that either. I think you've just got to try and go and win that football game and do it in the most controlled fashion possible, and hope that you have the full complement of players to pick from in the next round. And at the same time as well, somebody needs to take a booking at some stage, and somebody needs to take a booking at some stage, even if it means they miss the next round. You handle that when you get there. If you need somebody, then you take them. And if MLS is in that position, I'm very sure he bloody well will. And that is what it is, and that then means the next round we're struggling for a left back. We're struggling for a left back, but what do you want to do? Mishandle a game situation because of what could happen in the next round? You can't.
Yeah.
That's just
no. I agree. I agree, and it's not Arteta's approach. We just got to be professional, and what will be, and we'll worry about it thereafter. Because that's what we've done all season: is just do what we can. Now this shit happens, and we deal with it afterwards, and we dealt with it pretty well in the main. So that's what we've got to do. So no, I agree. So look, if there's a team and a venue where they could turn around a 3-0 deficit, this is it. But I think Arsenal have what it takes to get through. And look, we could be Real Madrid's bogey team. That would be fantastic because they've yet to score against us in 3 matches. They've yet to beat us. Wouldn't it be great if Arsenal are Real Madrid's bogey team? that'd be something special. So
on that point around any team that can turn a 3-0 deficit is Madrid. That's true in theory. It's never ever happened ever. I did the research. Obviously, it was in a bad situation waiting for this game. Wolfsburg kind of did it in a way, it was a similar situation where they scored 2 goals in the first leg, and then Madrid scored 3 goals in the second leg. The difference back then is that Madrid had Cristiano Ronaldo, they had Modric at 30, not 40, right? Also, Wolfsburg in the league at the time, they were 8th. And the season after that, they finished 16th twice. We have been on the up. We don't concede a lot of goals. We're just a better quality side. If you go all the way back to the 1940s, it's just never happened, right? To add on to that, everyone's talking about the magic of Real Madrid, the magic of the Bernabéu. Crazier things have happened. Have crazier things happened where Arsenal's won 3-0 against Madrid? I feel like in my lifetime as a fan, that is the craziest thing that's ever happened. So if we had to go and somehow get beaten 4-0, then goddamn, take the crazy crown. But right now, we at the peak of craziest things ever happened. So you said it earlier, I am confident. And it's simply because you mentioned it. We haven't conceded more than 3 goals in 2 seasons, a couple of years. Against big teams, we do really well. I was watching the game against Man City again. It's just a lovely game. That's a big team, an attacking team. We cooked them 5-1. PSV was also just an embarrassment of a Champions League team. Jamie mentioned these guys concede all the time to anyone. Quite literally anyone. So yes, the Bernabéu, yes, stories, but it's actually never happened before. And yeah, I'm very confident that we will not turn this. And if it does happen, then laugh at me and make this a meme. Make us viral, I guess.
No,
I just thank you as well, mate, because I just went to have a look at that Wolfsburg lineup from that night. And I was really hoping that Lord Bentner was going to be in there. Disappointingly. But Julian Draxler was in there, and that immediately then just made me think about the greatest footballer never to play for the Arsenal that should Arsenal.
I think aren't we not signing him in the summer?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, he's in Qatar now. He's found his way out to Qatar. Not even the Saudi league.
Wow.
Yeah, man. Yeah, he's playing for the Qatari All-Stars. But anyway, but it's just one of those moments where it's any way that you can make a link to a Jan Villa, Julian Draxler, or Hatem Trabelsi, you've got to, right?
We'll be discussing them on our transfer episode at the end of the summer. Okay, so look, Opta, we are 95.7% certain to get through. So Real Madrid have a 4.3% chance to get to the semi-finals. We're 52.9% to get to the final, and 27.8% chance of actually winning it according to Opta, and this is against all the other eight teams. So I'll take those odds. So Jamie, you predicted a draw. I think you said 1-1. That's right.
Yeah. Yes. Any kind of draw. Yeah. 1-1, 0-0, one of the two. I honestly think it's a game about just control and yeah, we'll see.
Okay. Kuziva?
I think we'll win 2-1.
Wow.
We'll win 2-1.
Wow.
I honestly think there's more chance of us. I would have us as favourites to win in 90 over there.
Okay.
I genuinely would, because I just don't think. I think, unfortunately for them, they are so poor with conceding goals that they mitigate our entire weakness that we have in this team at the moment.
Yeah.
And their lack of ability as a team and their reliance on being a moments team doesn't do enough against our ability to press, to recover. I mean, God, our ability to recover against them last
Dude.
week, whenever they did get a chance, just like, I mean, I know not everybody's that high on Oda at the moment. The work done by Oda and Marino
Oh, massive.
continually stop that first line pass
Yeah.
to allow just that extra 5 yards for the midfield to catch up and the fullbacks to be in position. I think they are just so fundamentally not a great outfit as a kind of a tactical machinery at the moment.
To
They're
add
just
on,
not able to deal with that. So
To add on to that, Jamie, I was watching their last few games on YouTube, and when other teams are defending against them, you will see 1, 2, 3, 4 max defenders defending against Madrid. When you watch our game last week, they'll come on the counter, and then we'll have 8 players in the box defending.
yeah,
I haven't seen any other team do that, and they simply cannot. They can't manage that. So it's not a good season for Madrid. Last season they finished the whole season only losing 2 games. This season they've lost 11 already across all comps with 10 games left. If it's a time to embarrass Madrid, this is the time. So I stand by my 2-1. I want to say more, like I truly believe more, but let me not get too viral. Let me not go too hard and keep it a 2-1.
Okay. Well, look, they've just beaten Alaves 1-0. Both teams had a player sent off. Mbappe sent off after 38. He was saying, "Sod this, I need to rest up for the Arsenal game." They only had 44% possession, 0.74 xG, 11 shots. So.
And Alaves is second bottom as well, right?
Yeah, no, it's bad. They had a player sent off in 70. Bellingham and Vinny Jr. came on around 60 minutes, so they got 30 minutes into their leg. So they're a sort of relatively strong team, but you know. So look, I had a funny thought. I think we're going to lose 3-1. I have no idea what's going to happen. I think, like you say, all results are possible. I think everything here is possible because it's Real Madrid, because it's Arsenal, because it's the UEFA Champions League. I think all of the eventualities are possible. Could go to penalties. We could get spanked 4-0. We could go away and win 2-1. I don't care how we do it. I just want to get through. I think based on our first the performance on Tuesday, I don't want that to be. They will never take that away. So what's happened between Tuesday and next Wednesday has been glorious, and we're living off that, and it's great, and they will never take that feeling away. But I want it to mean something. Don't want to look back like the Barcelona game where like the 2-1 and everyone's Arshavin, but it eventually meant nothing, or like the Bournemouth winner eventually meant nothing. I want this to mean something, but no one can take away the fun we've had this week. It's been brilliant being an Arsenal fan this week. Just been big smile on my face all week, and whatever happened yesterday, it's been a brilliant week. I have no fucking idea what's going to happen. I cannot. I am stuck for a
I'll
prediction.
Be honest, Tabs, you look like a bit of a mess at the moment. Kuziva are very much gone with the we're pretty confident about this. The more that we see of them, and the more we think about things around this, we reckon we can do these bastards. And you're sat there going they can never take it away from me, man. They can never take it away from me. I'll always have rights.
Maybe it's self-preservation. I don't know, but I think we'll get through,
mate.
I think we'll get through.
Don't worry about it.
Good. Oh, good. Thank you. I need that. I need someone there to do it. I said I might be otherwise distracted
throughout the week as we get close to the day, mate. We're all good.
I'll be watching it in a pub or in a hotel room in Bristol with my wife. That's what I've got to look forward to.
I will be just down the road in Exeter, actually, away with the missus too.
I should be in Madrid, but I'm promising.
I've got permission.
Sorry, go on. Keep getting in and out.
Oh,
so go on. No, the internet connection was dropping in and out. You were saying you're going to be in Exeter.
Apologies. Yeah, similarly. So I'm also in the southwest away with girlfriend for the Easter break, and
Yeah.
have negotiated that I'll be able to watch this game.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether I've told you to, but the main concern that I've got is that Champions League final is on my partner's birthday.
Oh, trip to Munich. It's a lovely part of the world.
So I've been talking about taking away, and now I actually hatched a plan last night with Charles over a messaging to go. It's one of our favourite drivers. Basically, it was like it suddenly dawned on me that what I need to do is to take her to a time zone where the Champions League final is being played either really late, or really early. And I think that's what the plan is now. So now this may become the most expensive weekend away of all time as I seek to
Wow.
go as far as like Alaska.
Wow.
You got to watch the game, though.
Well, I was checking. It's just like no. To be fair, man, honestly, it's quite difficult. Like we're gonna have to go. We're gonna have to go quite far to be able to get into a time zone where it's past her bedtime. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sort of struggling here.
Just take it to Munich and say, embrace the atmosphere, embrace the environment, embrace
I've
the
told you how much
culture.
my partner hates football, haven't I?
Oh no, not yet. So okay, I didn't realise it was that bad.
Really hates football and despises how it ruins pubs and parks and
wow
and
wow
everything. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, so it's gonna be a difficult one. So if we make the final, I'm not joking. I'm probably taking on the most expensive trip she's ever gone on for this period of 3 days, just so we can be in a location where I get to watch it.
Watch it at some point in the morning. Okay. Well, I've booked my hotel in Munich already. Free cancellation, of course. I'm not that confident, and my main objective of the next 3 days is to not say I could have been in Madrid. I could have been in Madrid. The only concession that Karen has made is that she's moved our dinner reservation from 7:30 to 6:30. So she's been a star in doing that. And then she said, right, we're going to watch this in a pub if we're going to do this. So there we go. So well, look. On that note, thank you very much, guys, for joining me today and talking me off my cliff. And I'm feeling okay. I think we'll do it. I just don't think it's going to be easy. And there we go. And look, we're gonna reconvene on Thursday to talk about the semi-final against PSG. So thanks, guys. Have a great rest of the weekend.
Thank you. Cheers.
See you later, guys.
And until the next time. Fuck you, Real Madrid. Go on, you Gunners.